My wife and I used to go on dates, and we'd go out to dinner or have some kind of fun, and sometimes we'd end up at a mall or some other shopping place. And usually that was quite a bit of fun for both of us. We enjoyed the experience, just looking at different things, browsing, buying, whatever it might be. But we'd often end up in a situation where all of a sudden one of us would just get to this point of frustration, and we'd go from saying things that were helpful to saying things that were harsh. All we had in our minds was we'd been in a certain store and we'd just think, oh man, I have got to get out of this place. We very quickly learned that this was not a habit we wanted to continue. So we talked about it, put something into practice, and our marriage has been better ever since. In this video, I'm going to tell you what we did to solve our problem and how you can use the same concepts in your marriage for better communication and less stress. Hi, I'm Rob Shaver, and this is Spark to Flame, where I share with you ideas, insights, and inspiration for better marriages. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a communication method that can spare you some grief and help you get what you want in your marriage. First, I'll start by addressing my situation. Cassie and I, we knew that something was wrong, and so the first thing we did was talk about it. And in talking about it, we discovered that we were both dealing with the same issue at heart. We had a problem that we needed to solve together, and the solution we came up with was using code words or in code language. So what we decided to do is when one of us got to that point where we just needed to get out of a certain store, we would actually just say those words to each other. I'm at my point. Or if we could sense that that was drawing near, we would say, I'm getting close to my point. Those simple words would communicate much more than just, I need to get out of the store to the person. They would communicate an understanding of where we were and what we needed so that we didn't turn into the grumpy version of ourselves. So we could say that one thing and it would communicate some complexity and some depth, and that would be helpful. So then we could make a plan. So I could say, hey, I'm at my point, or I'm getting my point, and Cassie could say, well, let me finish looking at these pots and pans. You go ahead and I'll catch up with you. Do you have your phone with you? Yeah. Okay, I'll text you when I'm on my way. Just let me know where you are. We were able to effectively take a point of contention in our marriage and make it a point of contentment. This is how it worked for us, and now let's walk through how it can work for you. The first thing that you're going to have to do is just identify the issue in your life that you believe using a code word would be beneficial. Now, once you've done that and figured out what your issue is, you're going to have to talk about it a little bit. But there's two main things that you're going to discuss for what your code word will do, and that is, what is it meant to accomplish, and what does it mean when you're saying it? And those things go hand in hand, but you'll see what I have to say. You'll see what I mean here. So for an example, I'm going to use the idea of we want a code word to use when we're in the middle of a heated exchange. Let's say you and I are married, and one of the things that's been happening that's frustrating is we will get into an argument and neither of us let down. We're both stubborn, and then that gets amplified. Our words get harsher and meaner, and we say things that we don't mean, and then we say things that we regret. And so what we'd like to do is have a word that will nip that in the bud. So what we're going to do is that right there, that is the goal, is that's what our word's going to accomplish. Our word is going to be a diffuser. So when we say this word or phrase in the middle of the argument, it's going to diffuse the situation. Now we can only do that because we're going to talk about what it means. What are the emotions behind it? What are the intentions behind it? And what is the actions? What are the actions that will follow suit? So in our example here, we've identified the purpose behind it and what we want it to accomplish. But now what we're going to do is we're going to identify three more things that are going to give meaning to those words. So what will our code word say and mean? In our example, it's going to mean a couple of things. It's going to be a confession. It's me saying, look, I'm worried about myself taking things too far. So when I say this code word, I'm confessing a little bit. It's also an agreement, right? We're making an agreement on the front end so that when I say this or you say this, it's not to end the argument, it's not to avoid the argument. We're both saying, look, we're coming into this together. When this word is said, it's kind of like reminder of the agreement that we're making that things are getting out of hand. And then lastly, it's establishing an intention. Look, I love you, and I want to be respectful towards you. And so when I say this word, it's not to be disrespectful or to be rude or to accuse you or attack you, right? So all of those things are being built up into one word or one little phrase. So for us, it's just going to be, we need a minute, or let's take a minute. Now we're in this argument and I say, let's take a minute, or you say, let's take a minute. Now, if that's just in a normal circumstance, then I could feel accused or I could feel disrespected. Well, what do you mean, take a minute? You think I'm out of control? You're out of control? And things could get even worse. But now that we've talked about it and we've discussed it, as soon as somebody says, let's take a minute, again, it's coming back to a shared decision and an agreement that we've made. I'm understanding that you're not necessarily saying I'm out of control. You might be saying that you feel like you are getting to be out of control. And so now I know that you're saying this because you love and respect me, or I'm saying it to you for the same reasons. Using a word or a phrase as a code to represent something with deeper meaning can do a lot for good marital communication. First thing you have to do is just identify a problem or an issue where it could be helpful. Then figure out what do you want to accomplish with your code word and what are the meanings and intentions behind you using the word. Lastly, pick a word and go for it. Give it a try. That's today's Spark, and may your sparks turn to flames.